Hello, everyone.
We're working late because we are podcasters.
I'm working late because I'm annoying.
We're missing the Grammys right now
Do you
to
think
record this, so.
Podcasting is the most annoying career in the world.
Probably the most self-indulgent because it's like, I need a full hour to just like yap at people once a week.
Yeah, I have nowhere else to yap at, so I just
Yeah.
yap at Ethan and then project it out into the world so that it's yapping at everyone.
But
I literally have a sign above my toilet that says "Born to Yap."
Born to yap. You were born to yap.
I was born to yap.
But honestly, though, like I feel like it's less obnoxious than people who do like TikTok dances. Not to like come for anyone, but like, there's like it feels like.
I don't know. I'm just like envisioning myself.
I mean, it
doing
feels like there's like
dance.
a degree of like integrity to this, where we're actually trying to like.
We're trying to help you.
Yeah, help other people and like pass on some of our wisdom.
How is like twerking your ass helping? I mean,
well. Hey, I don't have a problem with it. Yeah.
Hi. But yeah.
Sorry guys.
Wait, should we try not to say or yeah at all during this episode?
I think we should slap each other. We should be able to slap each other if we catch each other saying
We can slap each other with the
or
microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people will be able to audibly hear the slap.
Are they gonna get annoyed by that though?
They might.
Maybe I'll slap you on the leg. How about that?
Okay.
Is that good?
That's fine.
Okay. It's less violent than the face.
I think I can get away without saying or
I don't
like.
say a ton, but
you say like a lot.
I say like.
I say a lot.
And I do say
yes. Or yeah.
Yeah. I say yeah a lot.
Yeah.
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 I do. Someone called me out for that. I was like, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I agree with Molly. Let
you
me
know
live.
what? At least we're like energetic. Oh damn! I already broke it. I said like, ow!
Did you get?
Just screamed.
Sorry, I did not hold back. I
just
just smacked Molly.
Bleep that out. What was I gonna say? Oh, at least we.
Don't say the
I'm
word.
scared
like,
to talk now.
Yeah.
No.
You should be.
At least we are not the Californians that talk super slow, like
The vocal fry?
this,
I've heard.
And they have the vocal fry.
I've heard that that's actually like very unattractive, like psychologically, because people do that when they are insecure and they want to like lower the volume of their voice.
Well, you're also not projecting and being confident.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
And so people tend to be more attracted to people who are like
Projecting
and like enunciating.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like enunciate.
That's why
more.
people think British people are so hot, is because they're very proper and they talk very
Yeah, they do,
properly
yeah.
and they say everything like this.
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, Ethan, I love you so much."
The Brits do.
Oh,
love me.
Ethan.
She could get some crumpets and tea.
And Ethan would kill for some crumpets and tea.
Good for smogging.
He goes crazy. Wait,
I love a good crumpet.
I keep watching Hulu and they keep having this ad of Paddington in Peru, and every time I think about Ethan.
What does that even mean?
You are
Paddington the bear?
You are Paddington.
I mean...
You used to be obsessed with him, first of all. Second of all,
no,
he
I
is your
wasn't.
vibe.
I think that was Ethne.
I feel like there was a point when you were obsessed
We are
with
the same
Paddington.
person. He kind of loves to like have a pity party for himself, doesn't he?
He's
He runs
like,
around in
"Oh,
a little like
no."
rain jacket. Yeah, that is very mean.
And they're always like losing him.
Yeah, I'm always getting lost.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Who knows?
It's unimportant.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, today we're talking about ways you're growing and you don't realize.
Yeah, honestly, I think we can be really tough on ourselves sometimes, and it's easy, especially at the start of a new year when you're trying to like meet new goals and become a better version of yourself, to be critical.
Yeah, beating yourself up.
Yeah, I said and it's nice to just like take stock of who you are and kind of reflect on the things you are good at now. You know what I mean? Or like appreciate the growth that you have made, because it's easy to, once you meet that benchmark, just forget about it and move on.
Ways in which you're probably improving and growing and don't realize. Yeah. Things you're already succeeding at. So these are some things that kind of go left unnoticed until somebody points it out to you, and then you're like, oh, I have grown in that area.
I have gone up a few sizes.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't really fit in those jeans I used to wear.
Yeah, Yeah.
Relatable. But no, we're talking more about
Get
personal
them tailored
growth.
then, honestly.
Did I tell you I did that?
I've been getting all my jeans tailored.
I have too.
It's game changing.
Do it.
Jeans are so hard to
I'm
find.
someone too who wears jeans like pretty much every day.
Really? I hate jeans.
I love jeans. I wear jeans. I mean, when I'm not like working,
Yeah.
but like I am a sucker for jeans, and having jeans that fit you just right.
Good jeans, yeah.
Is magical.
Yeah.
It changes everything.
Well, we already have good jeans because we're pretty.
I mean, hi. Okay. We need to proceed with the episode before I kill both of us. But yeah, anyway, here's some ways that you may have grown without even realizing. This is one that I feel like I've actually improved on, which is something I struggled with a lot historically, but it's setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I have that written down too.
Do you? Okay, yeah. I mean, it's hard to appreciate in the moment because, especially if you're someone who's a people pleaser like we are, you are kind of used to letting other people have the priority in what they want. But recognizing when you do actually say no or like set a boundary for yourself, that's huge. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there who still can't even do that.
Well,
and I'm one of them.
I saw something where somebody was like, damn it.
I know, I like have been saying
we made
like
it 5 seconds.
Like every 5 minutes.
I saw something where somebody said that like what to do if your boss is trying to load a lot on your plate and you're already doing so much is to list off, because a lot of times people, like especially bosses and supervisors, don't realize how much you're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's to list off, okay, well, let me just go over my responsibilities with you. This, and this, and this. How do you think is the best to manage this? And I want your opinion. And then that gives them, like, it makes, one, helps them realize that you're doing a lot, probably. And two,
that's
like,
really smart.
would be, it's a nice way of asking, like, you're asking for their advice, and they'll be like, whoa, like, I didn't realize you're doing all of that.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, okay, well, this is how I would do that, and, like, this is how much I would delegate to each of those responsibilities. So just finding ways to set boundaries, and you can do that with everything. Like, I also, in the dating realm, my roommate was talking to me, and I was like, you know, I feel really bad because I'm not looking for a boyfriend, but I like dating and having fun and going on fun dates, and I feel like I'm wasting their time. And she said, you know, my mom told me something like, the men, like, you don't need to worry about hurting their feelings or like being kind of selfish, because men generally, especially straight men, are not worrying about that for you.
Well,
like,
I feel like that's kind of true of anyone too, is
Yeah.
like most people are focused on their own experience, and I will say it's difficult to be actively pursuing like a real long-term relationship if it does feel like a lot of people are like dating for sport.
Yeah.
But usually if that's what you want, you're going to be upfront about that, and you're going to like sift through and find the people who want that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to
don't be afraid.
do what you want and
have a good
just
time.
say no and to be a little bit selfish sometimes. Yeah. You're stuck
and
with
it's not
yourself for
selfish to
life.
put yourself first. I mean,
It's
all
not
the time,
selfish.
that is maybe a red flag, but like, yeah, you gotta take care of yourself and listen to what you want, because you shouldn't be living your life for other people.
Yeah. One way I will say, I think I've noticed I've grown but didn't realize, was being less embarrassed.
Yeah, you could probably do with a little embarrassment.
I honestly could use a little shame in my life. A little bit of like stoning.
Some ways like take you down a peg.
Like, I think maybe they should bring back stoning for people like me, because for people like us that need to be humbled a little
They do
bit.
stone the gays.
Oh, no.
Like most countries still.
Then just for me.
Yeah. What do you mean bring it back? I'm like, girl.
But what was I gonna say? Oh, I was telling Ethan about how I literally, nothing embarrasses me anymore. I remember when we first started this podcast, and I told the infamous story of me shitting in the woods on a date.
Yeah.
And it's the most humiliating story, the most humiliating moments of my life. And I remember even the guy who was with me was like, I heard you talk about this story on the pod, and you're so brave for that. And I was like, honestly, I don't give a fuck anymore.
No, literally. And back when I was like 15, 16, you couldn't torture some of the information out of me that I've shared like on the podcast. But I also think
I was gonna take it to my grave.
Literally. But we get on here and we pull out the microphones and the cameras and I like black out. Like I don't know what I say. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, maybe I could have held that back.
Questionable.
Yeah.
Questionable choices past Ethan.
But at the end of the day, no one really cares. You know what I mean? And
no,
so why should you?
remembering that.
No.
But yeah, it also, I think, makes people more fond of you. Like when you are vulnerable and tell people your most embarrassing stories, it's like you're less intimidating. Wow, that person's confident enough to tell this embarrassing story.
Completely.
And they don't give a shit what you think about it. Like,
even if it's not that like humiliating to you anymore, they feel like you've shared something that is like vulnerable.
Yeah.
And they feel like they then know you better.
Yeah.
You know? And everyone likes to feel like they know someone well. Do you know what I mean?
And also, like, there's very few things that are actually worth being embarrassed or ashamed about.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
We've all like slipped and fallen in front of a crowd of people, and we've all like had food on our face. Everybody has had embarrassing moments. We've all farted in yoga.
Yeah. Farted in yoga.
You know what Sarah told me the other day?
Oh no.
I forget what we were talking about, but she was like, you talk about your IBS and you're lactose intolerant and your shitting stories so often that I have started just associating poop with you.
It's part of your brand. It is kind of.
And I was like, honestly, there's no higher like regard. There's no higher
compliment. Hot girls have
for me.
IBS. Like, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, exactly. There was a billboard in LA. Like, I'm not ashamed anymore.
No, honestly.
We come together.
But also, like, not talking about it doesn't make it any less real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, people are gonna be like, oh, wow. They're not gonna care as much about it if you don't care much about it.
Yeah, but it's so funny. If 19-year-old Molly, like, watched this video, she would, like, hide in her room and never come out again. Like, she was the most embarrassed and insecure person in the world. And I'm, like, really proud that I am not there anymore. Because I am trying a lot of different things that I never would have tried.
And even if you aren't sharing humiliating moments like we are on such a public forum. No, like, I'm sure you've made steps in your personal development to, like, be more outgoing, be more social, and be more vulnerable with people. That's huge.
And, like, care less.
Yeah, and care less about what people think. That is kind of, like, my next one, but, like, being more outgoing. I feel like I used to be really shy, kind of like you said when you were 19. And I think a lot of that came from, like, fear of rejection from people. But I've realized the more you, like, forget about that and don't care about what people think of you, the more people actually like you. Yeah. Which is so interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting.
But that honestly, like, is such a life hack. Like, the sooner you realize that, like, most people don't really care and they're gonna like someone who's, like, authentic to who they are. Yeah. It makes it way easier to stop feeling like you have to, like, fit a certain mold. Yeah. My next one is kind of similar to this, in, like, not caring what other people think, but less about, like, being embarrassed, you know, and being less embarrassed, but more so not caring if you offend people and, you know, they don't like you. Sorry, you don't like everyone out there. That means that not everyone's gonna like you. No. And that's maturing, and that's okay when people say they don't really like you and they're not a fan of you, and or you find that out and it's like, or you go on a date and you get rejected. That's okay. Yeah, you don't have to be everyone's cup of tea. No, that's okay. Yeah. You're not going to be. Nobody is. Yeah. Nobody's perfect. Nobody, like, you don't even like everyone. Why would you expect everyone to like you? That's the other thing. I didn't even write this down, but I used to try to force friendships because I thought there was something wrong with me, that, like, why am I not getting along with this person? Yeah. And now I take it such a different approach. If I don't click with someone, I'm like, I just don't click with them. And I don't try to force it. And fine. It doesn't really bother me anymore. Yeah. Yeah. And usually it is the other person. Or, like, maybe you do just have, like, different vibes. Yeah, you know? Mm-hmm. I've been trying to take that approach to kissing and stuff. And, like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who are bad kissers, but, like, sometimes I don't like to, like, shame people anymore. Mm-hmm. Because maybe you just don't have the same style or the same taste in that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, maybe, like, this person just isn't for me. Yeah. You know? And I think that's like, okay to admit.
With dating, yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. If maybe you really want to be the type of person that like goes on 10-mile hikes and goes camping every weekend, but you're just not, and you're on a date and you're like, wow, it would be so great to like, because this person is like that. It would be so great if I was, but you know, I'm just not. I need someone who's a little bit more in the middle and like willing to stay at home with me. That's okay.
Yeah, be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I think I've improved at too, the older I get. And I think part of that comes with caring less about what people think. I think you feel the pressure to lie when you like want to appease other people.
Yeah.
But usually, like, you're gonna find people who are a better fit for you in your life if you are honest about who you are. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Is it my turn or yours?
I think it's my turn. Being able to hold yourself accountable too is like amazing. I think that is something that a lot of people develop over time, and it's hard to do when you're young, because usually you are accountable to like your parents or your guardians. But the older you get, usually you do have to kind of like reflect on who you are and what it is that you're actually doing. You know what I mean?
That's a really good one. I will say that it's like having integrity.
Yeah.
People who I'm actually find myself my mom really instilled like integrity in me when growing up. So I find myself attracted to men who try to do the right thing even when nobody's watching, and I really try to do that too.
Yeah.
And check in with myself and humble myself. And so an example is I was dating this guy, this situationship, and he saw a homeless person and he was like, oh, let me get some cash, and he was like, hand me my wallet, and I like open it for me because we were getting gas, and so I opened it for him and I like handed him like 15 from his wallet, or like 10 or something. He had like 2 5s and he was like, no, like put one of them back. And I don't know, that kind of like treating people, I don't know how to explain this. Treating people well, even when no one's watching, even though in that moment I was watching, it just kind of showed his true colors. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, maybe that was a bad example. Another example.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Another example would be, so I used to. So as far as
like
holding
basically
yourself
you're
accountable-
saying he was wanted the congratulations and the like notoriety of like being able to say, oh, I'm a good person, I gave the homeless person money, but
Yeah.
he didn't want to give him more than
But I
like
didn't give him,
$5.
yeah, more than $5.
Which doesn't buy you anything today.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So like he wanted to look like he was doing something good, but he wasn't. I mean, I think giving anything is like helpful.
Yeah.
I don't want to like be the person who like measures that.
Yeah.
But
it was just kind
like,
of a turn off in that moment. That it was
an
like
extra
an
$5,
extra couple dollars that he could have given away. I know he could have given it away. He wasn't like suffering.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That was weird. But maybe that's not a good example because I was watching him. So it's like not a good example of that. Okay, another one is me personally. I used to, I think we talked about this in our last episode, I used to never ask for help. And I would just pretend that I knew what I was doing. And it would get me in trouble because I would end up fucking things up at my job or whatever. And eventually I just kind of humbled myself and matured, and I was like, if I don't know something, I'm gonna ask. If I fuck up and I make a mistake at work, because I used to be in medical assisting in dermatology, urgent care, primary care, and when I had my first job in dermatology, I would fuck things up. I would call my mom crying because I wouldn't tell anyone, and I'd be like, Mom, am I gonna have like a disease because I accidentally like, you know, didn't clean this correctly, and like I didn't, you know, follow through on the procedures like we're supposed to in medical assisting? And she was like, no, you're fine. But that's Marsha. She's been a nurse for like 30 years.
A little concerning that you were like potentially doing medical malpractice.
No, it was only, in that example, it was like something that would have harmed myself.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't putting anyone else at risk. But I made a mistake basically, and I didn't tell anyone. And I was freaking out that I was gonna get a disease. And then so I learned from that, and I was like, next time I fuck up, I'm gonna tell people immediately. I'm gonna be like, hey, I messed up, can you help me? And what should we do about this, and how should we move forward? So in my next job in primary care and urgent care, I made it a point every time, because I was still learning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places you can mess up in medicine. and we move on, and it was nothing serious. Like, I was never doing full-on surgeries. That was the doctor's job.
And the one guy who lost a limb was like his own thing. You know
it was never anything that serious.
It was hanging on by the thread when he came in there anyway.
But if you work in the medical field, you know shit goes awry. It just does. And
especially when you're doing a poop transplant.
Shut up.
Get it? Because the shit goes awry.
Yes, that was a good one. I'll give it to you. But then at my next job, I really made it a point that when I messed up or I didn't know something, I was going to ask and I was going to say something. And long story short, the doctor I worked for, he ended up writing me a letter of recommendation for medical school, and I didn't get to read it until years later. And I read it like last year, and he said like I was one of the most integral people he's ever met. And he noticed how when I would mess up, I would go to him and I'd be like, hey, I messed up. Like, I'm so sorry. Can we, what should we do? And
people respond
really
to honesty.
that.
Yeah, they will. Especially if you're willing to acknowledge your own flaws and your own mistakes. Like, people love that. And another thing I realized is people love being asked to help people. Like, everyone, like, when you are in a position to give help to someone else, that feels great. You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to bother someone by asking them for help.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I've like learned from my time too. But that's a great example. Is it your turn?
I think it's
or my turn.
Your turn. I just talked for like 30 minutes. So
basically, another way that I've grown without kind of realizing is sticking to your routine. This is just really huge, and it's hard to do. Like, I think it's easy to like beat yourself up if you like skip a day of working out or like feel like you like are too tired to go to the grocery store or whatever. But like keeping the like main parts of it intact is huge. That's kind of the secret to like success in anything. It's just like showing up and like being there to do what you need to do. You know what I mean? Like, half of the battle is truly just being there and following the routine. Show up. Yeah.
Just show up.
And like giving yourself credit for that is huge, because I think sometimes we feel like we're not doing enough, or like you went to the gym but maybe you didn't like totally push yourself one day, and that's okay. Like, I mean, we've said similar things in other episodes, but like being able to appreciate the fact that you are here and you did what it takes to like get to that point. Yeah.
I like that one. I also had sticking to routine on here.
Yeah, that's huge.
Another one, ways that you're growing and maybe don't realize. A big one for me is being happy for others and not being jealous.
Yeah.
So I used to be guilty of when people would tell me about their accomplishments, or like I would meet their gorgeous boyfriend or something. I'd be like, oh, fuck, like I don't have a boyfriend. Or like, I am not there yet, and wow, they're doing so well, and I could never do that. I hardly do that anymore. Like, when people tell me about their accomplishments, I'm like, that is so great for you. Like, I'm so genuinely happy, and I think part of that is, number one, finally figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. A lot of it was just coming from insecurity that I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was feeling insecure in my career, so finally feeling more established in that, I feel like I can be happy for other people's successes, because it's not subtracting from mine, and I'm pretty content with it.
That is like huge, being able to like recognize, maybe this isn't my path, but I'm happy for you, you know?
Yeah. So, but I think a lot of teenagers are guilty of that, that's just normal, being a teenager and comparing yourself and not feeling and getting jealous easily. Like Olivia Rodrigo's jealousy. Like, it might seem that there's somebody out there that has everything, and it'll be really... Also, just having experience meeting people that might seem like their life is perfect online or whatever, or in general, and then you meet them and it's actually not true. And also having been the person where it looked like my life was great, and it truly was not.
We've all been there,
helped me learn to not be jealous of people, because you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah, honestly too, like if you think about the times where you have kind of like faked that, like everyone does it, everyone tries to like, because you want to like be optimistic and show like the bright side of things, but that doesn't mean that everyone else doesn't have a shit they're dealing with too. Yeah. You know, like, I think that's great. That's a really good way to appreciate the good things that you have while recognizing that like no one else is like has it that figured out.
Yeah, exactly.
One of mine is learning when to let go. I feel like I have become a lot better at this the older I get. For me, when I was younger, I think I was a really big perfectionist, and once I locked on to something or an idea, I would like pursue it and pursue it and pursue it, which isn't a bad thing, because I do think like it's important to stay dedicated to things, but sometimes when something just isn't meant for you, you need to recognize when to walk away, whether that's a relationship, like a job, like whatever it is, like knowing when to say, okay, like clearly something isn't working here, is growth, and that's huge. And like, you're not quitting by doing that, you're just saying maybe there's a better way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say a huge lesson for me in my early 20s was what's meant for you will not pass you by.
Yeah.
And if it had been meant for you, it would, if it was meant for you, it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that like everything should come easily, because sometimes life's hard and like you have to do hard things to succeed. But recognize when your work is actually getting you somewhere and when it's not, you know?
Yeah.
Same goes for relationships. Don't invest your time and energy into a relationship that you don't see improving. You know what I mean? Like if it's staying the same, don't waste your time. Don't beat a dead horse.
Just let it go and move on. And the world is so abundant. That's like our abundancy episode, that you're gonna be okay. Like I was talking about in the last episode with developing, or being okay with being alone and developing like a little night routine where you get to treat yourself and have a really fun night by yourself, because then when you have that, you're less afraid to let go of something that's not serving you. Oh God.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're letting go of something that's not serving you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But honestly, true. That is so true. And the times in my life that I have been like, okay, clearly this isn't meant to be, I need to let go, that's usually when the universe sends you something good. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't even acknowledge the other thing that's waiting for you or like potentially ready for you until you fully move on from what you're clinging to.
Yeah. I remember I used to hear people say, like, oh, if they really wanted to be with you, they would be with you. And it would make me so mad, because I knew that that person wanted to be with me, and there was all these other factors that were going into it as to why it's not working.
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, that's kind of true though. Like, if somebody really wants to be with you, they will make it work.
Yeah. So
let it go if that's not happening. You deserve better, and you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I think it is like, it does take a degree of like courage or like security, like self-security, to be able to recognize that. And I think I didn't have that for a long time, and like I have finally gotten to a place in my life where I feel like I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you, it's like so much more peaceful. Like, I recommend it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Another one is just advocating for yourself more. This has been big, and just like recognizing a way that I've grown. I was always kind of like a people pleaser and like wanted to kind of take the path of least resistance. But sometimes that like means doing yourself a disservice, or like, you know, putting your own like needs aside. And you shouldn't be doing that all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, like give yourself like credit for being able to like stand up for yourself sometimes. You know, stand up for yourself, girl.
Should we tell the story of my neighbor?
Yes. Oh man, this was so aggressive.
She's probably gonna hear this whole thing. Apparently, my neighbor can hear everything that we say in this house.
Yeah, Molly has very thin walls in her apartment.
Apparently, I have very thin walls, which is concerning for me. But, so basically, Ethan and I went and we just got dinner, and we got one drink, and we went to a bar. We just got water at the bar because we were like not feeling it.
We weren't like drunk.
Came home at midnight. Ethan, I will say, does have a booming voice, if you can't tell.
I'm sorry. You know what? They know.
More than one occasion, the neighbor that lives behind my bedroom wall has banged on the wall to tell us to shut up. That's only happened when Ethan's here. And
which is kind of homophobic, if I'm being honest.
And she banged on the wall last night, and I was like, okay, yeah, we need to be quiet. And then she came to the door this morning.
Yeah.
And was like, hi, I'm your neighbor. And on, like, the topic of growing in ways you didn't realize, 19-year-old Molly would have been mortified and felt so bad and ruminated on it. I was sitting there and I was like this. I was like, yeah.
But also, and I can appreciate someone being annoyed or, like, if we were being annoying and stuff. It's not like we were having a rager.
And it was a Saturday
night. It was a Saturday night, and it was like, what, 12:15, 12:30?
It was midnight.
Max?
It was not like 4 a.m. on a Wednesday.
No, yeah, it's not like she has, like, a family or, like, a newborn baby.
But anyways, so...
I just don't know. It was just, like,
I think this might be a kind of bitchy way that I've grown, but also it's like, it's not that serious, and I obviously am gonna be respectful, and I appreciate that she communicated it to me. And I'm gonna be respectful and try to be more mindful of it. At the same time, I'm just saying, like, 19-year-old Molly would have been freaking out and ruminating on it.
That would, like, put me through the ringer.
And yeah, I would be like, oh my god, I feel so bad.
I'd be like, I need to make her cookies and like, go over there and apologize.
Exactly.
Like, I'm gonna go over there and, like, start polishing her shoes.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm gonna put up soundproofing in her apartment.
But I was just standing there, and I think it's from, like, okay, going back to at work when I make mistakes, like, I used to, or like somebody gets, like a patient gets irritated with me because they don't like something, a policy or something. I used to take it personally. Now I think it's happened so often that I just detach myself and I'm like, yes. Okay.
Which, like, you want to be accountable for your actions, but
at some point
you have to stick to reality, and like, you can't please everyone.
When you know people are overreacting a little bit, I think now I know, like, I don't take it as personally, and I know that it's a little bit of an overreaction, and I can tell, and I can, like, detach myself and be like, hear them out, and just sit there and listen, but also be like, I don't really hear, lady, like, this, I don't know. Maybe that's inconsiderate. I think I'm a very considerate person. There are some things, though, that honestly people are just taking it out on you, or overreacting, and for whatever reason, and you have to be able to just not care as much.
It's true. And yeah, I think that is the key.
Because if you go around, it's like Jess in New Girl. When Schmidt asked her, like, do you just go around thinking about other people's feelings all day? And he's like, isn't that exhausting? And she's like, yes.
Yes.
Like, it's gonna wear you out if you're going around all day.
It really will.
Worrying about other people's feelings.
And, like, be empathetic. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
But, like, you're not going out of your way to hurt anyone. And if you upset someone, apologize, move on. Don't punish yourself for it.
Don't keep ruminating about it.
And if they're the one who, like, makes it a big issue, they're being the asshole, not you.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway.
Another one on my list is not staying up late anymore.
That's been on my list for a long time, which I have.
No, that's like how I would say I've grown. I used to, I will say, I used to stay up to like 2 a.m. in college, like every single night. I don't know why, but I would say, I think it was like fear. It was almost like FOMO in combination with...
I've heard of this. It's like sleep punishment procrastination or something.
Yeah.
But it's basically like a theory that people who have, or sleep guilt procrastination, people delay sleep because they feel guilty, like they didn't do enough during the day, or they didn't have that downtime because they were so busy during the day to like unwind.
Yeah.
I always feel that at the end of the day where I'm like, I didn't do this. Like, you kind of guilt trip yourself.
Yeah. And
so instead of getting the rest to like tackle it the next day, you like punish yourself by staying up.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah. So I used to stay up till
it's very real. Sorry.
2 a.m. and then now I am like, no, I know I'm gonna wake up and I look forward to my breakfast when I go to sleep. Yeah. I think honestly that helps me go to sleep more than anything and like relax. I'm like, yes, I get to have my avocado toast in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
And that there will be a new day and you're not missing out. And also I would sit there and think about everything I didn't do that day that I needed to do, and I was like,